The Ohio State University was not founded as a research university, but as a land-grant university, one that taught agricultural and mechanical arts, practical subjects. It wasn't too much of a challenge for us to transform into a research university. The idea of the modern research university was born in Germany in the early part of the 19th century at the University of Berlin. There, the epistemological organization of the university was built around disciplines and disciplinary subjects, and that becomes the model then for the modern research university. Toward the end of the 19th century, after the Ohio State University was founded, a number of these disciplinary subjects created professional organizations, professional societies, the American Philological Association, the American Economic Association, the American Historical Association. By the time we enter the 20th century, the modern research university is built around disciplines. Sometimes today, when we talk about the problems, the challenges of the modern research university, we sometimes are concerned about silos or the need for breaking down silos. This is a chart that sort of envisions what I'm talking about. When we say silos, what we mean are disciplines and breaking down disciplinary barriers. One of the ways that we do that is by encouraging interdisciplinary work. What that frequently means is one disciplinary specialist working with another disciplinary specialist and another disciplinary specialist on some sort of problem. But the disciplines still remain. And in fact, for some researchers, it actually proves a challenge to do interdisciplinary work. Because even though we're encouraged to do this, even though we're encouraged to, say, publish in another discipline's journals, our tenure, our promotion, our advancement is based on rules that are established in our disciplines. It's sometimes a challenge to do interdisciplinary work when we are judged by the standards of our individual disciplines. It's even more challenging if you're a researcher that wants to ask questions or to work on problems that exist in the spaces between disciplines, where there are no TIUs, there are no disciplinary structures. And it's even more of a challenge if you're the kind of researcher that asks questions or works on problems that allow you to move between many disciplines simultaneously. That person is one that we typically call a polymath. And there's very little room today in the modern research university for the polymath. The writer Waqas Ahmed argues that far from being an anomaly, far from being a once-in-a-generation kind of intellect, the polymath is probably more common than we think. In fact, his argument is that the disciplinary specialist is the historical anomaly. The polymath is the more common historical example. But as I say, it's very difficult in the modern research university to be a polymath. Take the case of Herbert Simon, to me the quintessential polymath. I've listed here on this slide all of his, or some of his achievements. He won the Turing Award for Computer Science in 1975, the Nobel Prize in Economics in 1978. He was professor and chair of the Department of Political Science, the Illinois Institute of Technology, professor and chair of the Department of Industrial Management at Carnegie Mellon. He worked in artificial intelligence, information processing, decision-making, problem-solving, organization theory, complex systems, sociology, psychology. If he were at Ohio State, to which TIU would he be confined to? Maybe what we might do is chop him up and spread him out among several disciplines. Or we could do something maybe more innovative. We could create the TIU that would encapsulate the polymath that was Herbert Simon. This slide here is showing an article that appeared in a recent issue of the Chronicle of Higher Education. It's called How the Coronavirus Tests Higher Education's Disciplinary Fault Lines. You can get a sense from the title of the piece of what they're talking about, that the challenges that we face around coronavirus might be better solved by a structure that wasn't based on disciplines. But that is the structure of the modern university. I'd like to read from some of this to give you a sense of what the article was arguing. It says, the structure of higher education has been slow to change in response to the sort of problems that require more than a single discipline. Even among folks who realize that the disciplines are not necessarily the most appropriate unit, the alternative has been harder to envision and implement because people are hired on tenure lines according to discipline, and breaking out of that system proves to be very difficult. So I'm quoted in this article as well, especially talking about polymaths. Because of the demands of specialization, universities don't teach and don't encourage polymathy and systems thinking. There is no room right now in universities for polymaths. But I wonder if polymaths, those who think systematically and those who bridge all kinds of disciplines, might not see more demand. To do that, to create a space and environment for polymaths, we would have to redesign the epistemological organization of the research university. In the 18th century, universities were organized to encourage, even expect, polymaths. The German model, the research university, comes to dominate in the 19th and 20th centuries, and the epistemological organization of the German research university is around disciplinary specialists. Even when we encourage interdisciplinary, as we approach the end of the 20th, early part of the 21st century, interdisciplinarity is still grounded in the disciplines. What I'm talking about is redesigning the epistemological organization of the university, not so that everyone needs to be a polymath, indeed there should remain specialists, but that the organization should be created or redesigned to allow for polymaths to exist. I made this argument in my recent book, Alternative Universities, the subtitle of which includes Innovation in Higher Education. One of the models, one of the innovations I proposed, I called Polymath University. And here's how it would work. We already have professors right now who maybe work in two different disciplines, but frequently those are what I call adjacent or cognate disciplines, someone who works in biology and chemistry or history and philosophy. What I term a polymath would be someone who works not in these cognate disciplines, but who works across many disparate disciplines like history and finance and dance at the same time. The polymath is that scholar who works across many disparate disciplines. In this formulation, the disciplines are not bodies of knowledge, but rather idea spaces or habits of mind, ways of thinking about the world. The polymath is that scholar who is fluent in the many habits of mind across many disparate disciplines. Another feature of a polymath university would be a way to nurture polymathic students. I'm privileged right now to be working with a group of students who all have majors, some of them are even double majors, but each one of them feels confined by those disciplines, by those majors. The questions they're asking, the problems they're seeing, the things that interest them aren't confined to just one discipline. And yet, they're told, they're expected to major, to specialize in something. So I've called each one of them a polymath, a term they like very much. And we've formed a small polymath club where they can explore their questions, explore their areas of interest, unconstrained by disciplines. My argument is that Polymath Club should become an important feature of the modern, innovative 21st century research university. When we create structures that nurture polymathic students, when we reorganize or redesign the underlying epistemological organization of the university to allow for polymaths, we really would have then created the infrastructure of polymathy.